When we misunderstand the text, or when we put our own presuppositions, or we inject what we think is historical context into the reading, and not just read the words that are written on the page, and not just use God to interpret the text himself, because he does in a lot of places, right? The book of Revelation is full of symbolism in which he explains what the symbolism means. And that doesn't mean that I think that all of the book of Revelation is not, is just symbolic, okay? Because clearly the churches existed. There is that which is symbolic and spiritual, but that also dwells within this realm. So sometimes when we're talking about the language that is used, it is used to describe different characteristics or things. For example, Nebuchadnezzar becomes a beast of the field. He literally becomes a beast for 7 years. But when I say literally, I mean like he didn't stop being a man. I mean that like he was recognizable for his beastly behavior when we become animalistic and opposed to God. So in Matthew 24 here, when it says about, let's see, but of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. Okay? Now, if we go back to Amos, after that day of the Lord is darkness, it talks about how God abhors all of the sacrifices that they give him. And then it goes on to chapter 6 in Amos, which says, woe to them that are at ease in Zion, and trust in the mountain of Samaria, which are named chief of the nations, to whom the house of Israel came. Okay, and I'm going to skip down here. It says, verse 3, ye put far away the evil day, and caused the seat of violence to come near, that lie upon beds of ivory, and stretch themselves upon their couches, and eat lambs out of the flock, and calves out of the midst of the stall, that chant to the sound of the viol, and invent themselves instruments of music like David, that drink wine in bowls, and anoint themselves with the chief ointments. So you get that? They drink wine from bowls. In the Psalms, it says about how wrath is poured out in bowls. I think it's Psalm, let me look really fast here. Psalm 75, and it says, we'll start in verse 7. But God is the judge. He putteth down one, and he setteth up another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red, and it is full of mixture. And he poureth out the same, but the dregs thereof. All the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. But I will declare forever, I will sing praises to God of Jacob. And all the horns of the wicked also will I cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted. So the pouring of the cups is the dregs of bitterness that is mentioned. And so those are the bowls of wrath in which God will come back and judge the earth. And so I think when people say that they long to meet Jesus, they do long to meet Jesus. Even Paul, after being indwelt with the Holy Spirit, longed to be with Christ again in full fulfillment, because he still had to die to the flesh. It says in the scriptures that it is for man to die once, but not twice, because you don't have to die both of flesh and of spirit. You can live in spirit forever. And that's where the reconciliation fully comes in. But you do have to die to the flesh. So some of us walk around carrying the Spirit of God in our lives. That's what Christians are supposed to do. And we're supposed to spread that Spirit, the Spirit of love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, kindness, forbearance, all under this umbrella of self-control. We're supposed to spread that to the whole world, that Christ may be glorified. But we have to recognize that we still live in the in-between, between the flesh and the full form of our spirit. We have to die to the flesh. The